Hello, and welcome to this frightfully exciting edition of Trivial Debates. I am your host, Skelvira, Mister of the Dark, and we have three competitors with killer wits here for you victims out there, listeners. Um, we have Marc Devault, Will from a horror effects artist, and Will Young, podcaster, Elwood City Limits.
Hello.
And Chelsey, Stitch Keeper, who makes the coolest horror dolls you will ever see. They are awesome. All right. Well, this is the game show where we have what is it? A minute long arguments, and then we have 4-minute open debate on trivial topics in the categories of movies, TV, music, sports, history, and wild card. But of course, they will all be horror themed tonight. I think that's it. Let's get into it, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. So first up, we have movies. Which horror movie would be the easiest to survive in as a potential victim? All right. First up, we'll go with Mark. All right, Mark, you have a minute.
I don't even remember my answer, but I think it was like...
We got it here.
All right, so what was my answer?
Don't we, Murphy? Chucky. Child's Play.
Chucky. Like, just think about it. Overall, just think about it. You just take 2 steps back and kick. Really. That's it, really. Like, it doesn't have anything.
You can be sneaky.
Do you wish to concede your remaining time?
You want to concede the rest of your time?
Yes, because everything is easily debatable on that. Like, everything from the size, the strength, the like, you kick the knife, he's fucked. Like, really. And if you have anything a little bit bigger than a scooter, he's still fucked.
Okay. Very convincing. All right. Let's go to Will next.
All right. So my answer for this one was Hellraiser. Because unlike in a lot of other horror movies where there's stuff that you actively have to do in order to survive in a Hellraiser movie, don't do anything. If you see the puzzle box, like, don't touch it. Like, just walk away and don't do anything. And that's basically what it comes down to. Now, if you do end up doing something, I can't help you. But it's very, very easy to do nothing. I do it all day long. And that's how you survive in a Hellraiser movie. Just do nothing.
The pretend you're not in a Hellraiser movie approach. All right.
There goes the plot.
The movie starts. Nope, no thank you. Moving on.
Credits.
Yeah. All right. They should have you do the effects on that one, Mark. You good?
That would have been nice.
Yeah. All right, Chelsey.
I said Leprechaun. I mean, give him his gold back. It's his whole damage with everybody is you took his gold and you won't give it back. So, I mean, just give it back to him. I think I wouldn't chase a leprechaun down to find a pile of gold, but if you're going to, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and even if you find the gold, he blatantly says, I want me gold. So give him his gold and problem solved. I don't know how much more there is to debate about that. Unless it's kind of like magic, but don't steal from him then.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go into the open debate.
I do like the two of these do involve, like, again, like actively not doing something or just being like, yeah, absolutely. Here you go. This is, as you said, Chelsey, That is a good one. I do like that. I wonder. I must admit, I haven't seen a Leprechaun movie. How trustworthy is the Leprechaun?
I was gonna say
He's pretty trustworthy. Like,
Yeah?
I don't remember all the films, but he is usually like, if you make a deal, he doesn't go back on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would trust him though. Like, like there's always the like, I'm gonna kick your ass anyway. Kind of the background. And
I don't
for
think he does, though. I think I'm quite sure that like once he gets his gold back, he's pretty like chill about it. He just kind of takes his gold and goes about his business.
Does one of those movies end with him getting his gold back and then leaving?
No, sort of at the end of the first one. I haven't seen them in a while, but the end of the first one, they do give him his gold back, and he was gonna leave, but then he noticed a piece was missing, so he would have dipped off. But somebody ate a piece, so he had to get that right. So they technically said they give him his gold, but they didn't give it all back to him.
Okay.
Hey, screw you at the drive-thru. So he would come back. And I think the box for Hellraiser, it's just a human conundrum. Like, there's no way you can leave a box there and if you touch it, something's going to happen. It's like Pandora's box, like, tempting.
That's a good point. I do want to put out there, though, it's inconsistent about how difficult the puzzle box is. I've tried a couple, look, I'll level with you. I've never solved a Rubik's Cube in my life. Usually I start and I'm just like, well, I'm too stupid for this, and then just put it aside. So I think you have to complete it, and I don't know how difficult it is. So if there's any level of difficulty, I'm not doing it.
I do have a question for you for that. Did you ever make something happen out of pure luck?
I mean, sure. Yeah, probably.
There you go. Touch that cube, you're effed.
I would have to watch way more Hellraiser movies to see if it's like, is it just a touch situation or is it a solve situation? I always took it to me, you have to solve it, but fair enough. I did also want to say about Chucky. Of course, I've always thought about just doing the good old step back punt kick. Solid strategy. He's very fast though. Like in a lot of those first person camera situations, he's really fast. I could see that being not impossible to hit him, but very annoying to try. So that would probably take at least a bit of effort, depending on how wily he is.
Yeah, but if you think about it, he's pretty stiff, so you can take a broom and take him away.
Well, I mean, he's got enough motion to stab. He's got joints of some type. So
yeah.
But Chucky's sneaky. Like, he's not like you walk into the room and you see him standing there. Like, if you'd see like Jason or Freddy or something, he hides on you. Like, he knows how small he is.
Yeah.
So when he takes you out, I find like the first hit takes you out. He either like scares you out a window or he'd like stab at your ankles or something so you fall down. And
he usually gets into your place. So he's probably got the floor plan mapped out in his head by the time you come in. So he knows the place as well as you do. Maybe even better because it's from a smaller point of view.
Yeah.
I chased my 4-year-old around, and I'm pretty sure you had to be really fucking sneaky.
Well, you could be if you were a doll. Like if you were that small and you just like snuck in, like he could be hiding under your kitchen table.
That was excellent debate, you guys. Very good opening round. Oh God, that was tough. I think Mark did you in with the you're just gonna open it thing, Will. The human nature. It's just like I would open it. I've seen Hellraiser and I would still probably open that stupid box.
Yeah.
It's like a Rubik's Cube that's just on the table there. Like you will handle it. You will go touch it.
That is a good point. My brain will eat itself, being like, well, I gotta just move one thing, and then I'm just keep doing it. So fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but I just want to ask Pinhead one question. That's all.
What sites does he have to show me? Like specifically,
do those pins hurt? That's what I want to know. So then it came down to the battle of the tiny little murderers, and I got to give this one to Chelsey. The the points that Chucky was he's just a little quicker, a little more murderous, and there's like you might have a way to make the leprechaun go away. Whereas I don't know if you do that with Chucky, from what I heard here in the debate. So I'll give the first point to Chelsey.
Nice.
Chucky's scrappy too.
But I think we remember Leprechaun a little differently, Chelsea. Also, he's not very trustworthy.
For the first one? What, sorry?
Well, I just remember it's just like he's like, "Can I have some gold?" He's just like, "Sure," but he like puts it in your belly or something instead of like.
No, the guy
table.
ate it. He ate the.
Oh, he ate
he
the
ate
gold.
the coin. Yeah, to see if it was
Right.
real. He like was supposed to bite it, but he ate it. So
We're gonna have to watch tape.
I take back what I said. You remember it better than I do. All right. So let's move on to TV. All right. I love that sound effect. Which horror cast of characters from any medium would make the best Big Brother style reality show? And this time we will start with Will. So take her away, Will.
So for this one, I went with the cast of Scream, specifically the original cast of Scream from the first movie. I want to see.
There they are.
There they are. I want to see more of these people. I want to see, because they have such interesting interpersonal dynamics and they have such quirks to the point that like they're going to get on each other's. They're getting on each other's nerves in a 90-minute movie. Imagine this stretched out for 8, 10, 12 weeks, however long a Big Brother season is. Like somebody is killing Randy besides Ghostface. Like you take Ghostface out of the equation, somebody's still at least wanting to kill Randy, and there's all kinds of romances going on. It's between all kinds of different cast members, and I just think that makes for the most interesting television. And I just want to see more of these 90s hotties as they try to figure out who's going to be the last survivor. So that's what I want to see.
Okay. All right, moving on to Chelsea.
I went with Zombieland. All the characters in that, they've got like different attitudes, and plus they're already crazy. Like they're in a zombie apocalypse. They've already, they ain't right in the head. So if we're gonna have like a Big Brother, series, it'd be nice to see how some people that have been in the apocalypse for years stand up against that. I think the arguments would be a lot less small and petty, like you see with some of the reality TV shows now, which is good. I like the petty arguments, but I think there'd be some, darker secrets and things to say. I think it'd be fun. Yeah. Plus, you'd find like different people. You could add like a random person you found on the side of the road or something. Yeah. Random hobo.
A token weekly character.
Yeah, but they're all crazy. That's the best part. Every single one of them. Like, you got to be crazy to survive in the apocalypse, especially with zombies. So.
Same with the Big Brother house, at least on the one we're making on this show. All right. So, Mark.
What was my answer? You're gonna have to remind me.
We got that. Oh, aliens.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to admit that having a bunch of misfits, first of all, like just from my background, I can tell you that this is just a TV show on itself.
Aliens, we should say. So.
Yeah, aliens. And having like a bunch of military guys is just like they're extreme of everything. Every kind of character you can think of, it's an extreme. So mix all that in a pot and make it stew in his own filth kind of thing. You will have a good show. You will have a good show. It's period. Like it's either the knife thing or a fight or a fight. Or a fight. Or stripping the weapon.
Okay. Yeah, you're stripping the weapon too. All right. I don't even watch reality TV, but I would probably watch all three of these. So let's have an open debate and see which one I would want to watch the most.
Is the xenomorph on the Aliens show? Is it part of the Big Brother cast?
It has to. But
That's a good question.
you don't have to see it. Like, it's not because like a horror is not always seeing the thing. It's
Mhm.
the build-up of it. So you can just have it like show its face once in a while, just to prime up the
Okay.
environment.
I was kind of hoping it would be like around the breakfast table and just like, hey, how you doing? Just just chilling, like just relaxing.
passing by with a bowl of cereal, like
yeah.
massive fucking bowl.
Same thing for Zombieland. I was wondering if in this case would we have like the cast of Zombieland, and then like would you throw in a couple of zombies for flavor?
I feel like the zombies would still be there, but like maybe in the middle of like you know how they interview them, like the person talking or whatever, just halfway through they'd be like, hold up, I gotta take care of this, and then just like slaughter a bunch of zombies and come back all bloody and be like, all right,
you're just tapping the window from the courtyard. Wasn't there actually? I think there was a British show that actually did the exact thing. Like they did a Big Brother and a zombie apocalypse.
It's called Dead Set. It was by the creator of Black Mirror.
Oh, that's funny.
Check that out.
Yeah,
What would you do with Ghostface and Scream though? Like, is Ghostface, would he actually be, or she, I guess, Ghostface could be anybody now.
Yes, they could be anybody.
Like, does the cast know who the killer is, or
do
would
they?
it just be we're trying to figure out who it is?
I actually, that's a really good twist that I didn't think of, and I'm glad you thought of for me.
Yeah, that's definitely a point for you, Will.
I will admit, though, that does get a little screwy because spoilers for the first Scream, by the way. Technically, Ghostface is two people, so I don't know how you pull that off in reality TV when you have all the cameras covered. They're going to have to be really clever in disguising themselves, which, again, I really want to see how they do it, or if they can.
I still think that a bunch of like weirdos from everywhere and everything like that. I think it's a good TV.
So with the Aliens cast, you said that there would be a lot of fighting. Do you think it would be sustainable? Like well, whether or not there's a xenomorph in there or not, I almost feel like half of that cast would kill each other.
Yeah,
like within the first
it's a show that you look. It's less bitchy and more violence. Like they don't feel anything. They just show their feeling with passion.
Okay, all right.
Especially in the face area.
Except for Bishop, because he's an android.
Yeah, and he's just in the corner giggling or recharging.
And the Zombieland one, that is very like star-studded. I was thinking you could also have Bill Murray on the cast for that one too. Like not like the character that Bill Murray plays, like Bill Murray. So that's a ratings draw.
Well, there you go.
Going back to Chelsey.
Or like a sitcom. I can see it like a sitcom.
Yeah, you have like little guest people popping in.
Yeah, like Seinfeld, but with zombies.
Do they do that on Big Brother? Do they have celebrity guests?
Well, I can't believe it because when you sent me your picks, it was the one I wanted to see the least. But Will takes this one. When I first heard it, I'm like, "But that's just Big Brother." But you know, the intrigue of who Ghostface is, and you did poke holes in the other two, especially with like I don't think Mark could fill the series order with his cast likely.
It would be a limited series. I must admit.
But those 2 episodes, man,
what killer!
Yeah,
killer.
Oh yeah. Oh, good stuff for sure. And yeah, and I wasn't convinced on Zombieland either. So Will gets the point on this one.
Although in Big Brother they have to leave the house, so if the zombies are outside the house, they're also basically getting killed.
Oh,
or potentially.
you have to see that show. Dead Set. It's good. Like it's awesome.
I'm gonna check that out.
All right. So move on to music. Which horror character's story, not the Phantom, would make the best opera? And we'll start with Chelsey this time.
I went with Seth Brundle from The Fly. Because I mean, operas really are tragic stories, and that is in itself a tragic story. You know, and there's love in there. There's the love story as well. It's a guy who just loves his work to death, and the woman who wants to save him. And I just feel that, and it's nice and gory. So a musical or an opera would actually work out quite well with that. And imagine that, like Fly singing, like Brundle Fly singing at the end. Musical number, it'd be fantastic.
Not a gurgling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I think it's a very sad, tragic story, so it'd make a great opera, because that's really what all operas are in the end, are supposed to be, I guess. Unless they've changed over the years, but
Everything's about the story.
yeah.
All right. Very good.
All
Very
right.
good. Let's move on to Mark.
Oh man, what did I say?
We got you. Dracula.
It's a classic. It's a classic. You can play it like, you can play it funny. You can play it dramatic, Shakespearean. You can play it the way you want. It's too much of a classic, and you can add and delete and adjust it, and it's like yeah. I think it would be perfect. You throw a few puppets in there just to good flavor.
Bats.
Yeah, I think it's self-explanatory.
All right. Sounds good. Will.
You could call the Dracula musical A Taste for Blood. Mine is Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Again, much like Chelsey said, a tragic story here. If you follow it through some of the movies, grows up in a very destitute living environment, disadvantaged young man, grows up to become somebody who thinks it's okay to wear people's faces. And it's a very operatic, very gory. And I feel that you could add to Leatherface's character by like, yes, he's large and hulking and even ugly, but he has such a beautiful voice. And that's the only way that he can express himself. And if he can't, if the pain in his soul cannot be expressed through his voice, it can be expressed through the music of his chainsaw. The sweet sounds of his chainsaw, the only thing that's ever loved him. Oh, I'm crying already.
Okay. All right. You concede your time there, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you guys are done, just say
more.
you concede your time, and then we can just
sure
move it along a little quicker.
Yeah.
All right. So very good. Open debate on. You guys can sing your open debate if you like. It doesn't matter either way.
I'll spare you.
Okay.
All
All right.
I'm a drummer.
I like the Dracula one, though.
You can drum it.
Yeah.
Thought about that, but
I'm surprised there isn't already a Dracula opera. It seems almost.
No, I was thinking that too.
They're probably 1 or 17. Because really, you can do whatever. Like, it's great for it. It's like a great barbecue sauce. It goes to like all kind of, even fish if you want.
And I loved The Fly. I wonder. I worry as if I'm the director of the budget, because the effects in David Cronenberg's The Fly, wow, beautiful, but I wonder how if you could do justice to it on the stage. Probably, yes. Yeah. And don't take my word for it. We have an expert here.
Yes,
well, they could.
And actually, I'm gonna vote for you, because I think The Fly is a great idea.
Because it was practical effects in The Fly, was it not?
Yeah.
Could you not just put that onto the stage? And I mean, it would suck to
And you
done so quick.
you transfer that to the stage, and it could be like half a suit, a puppet at the end, just to, like, for the full transformation and stuff. Add a few sparks and lights and smoke, and everything is good.
Yeah, some slime.
I'm glad we have somebody who knows what they're talking about on this podcast when it comes to like creature effects, so you don't have to take my word for it. So your vision. It's a good idea.
Yeah. You know, I give my vote to her. It's a great idea. I love it.
We both kind of came at this from the tragedy perspective. So I guess I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. I've seen movies that call themselves operas, but I haven't really seen a for real one. So I would be interested to see how these would both be received in terms of the story about the man who becomes the fly and the story about Leatherface and Dracula as well.
Well, we've been hearing about those two. What do you guys think about Leatherface, Chelsey?
I think it's a quick one.
I'd watch a Leatherface opera. I would.
It would be different. It would be different.
Quick in terms of like duration, like it wouldn't be a very long opera.
I don't think so. Like, you would have to milk it, I think.
That's a selling point to me, though. That's some of these operas, they go on for quite a while. So
yeah, but still, like, there's just so much you can play with the like the guy behind the mask. Like, it's like you need other aspect as well. Like, the Fly has everything. Dracula is Dracula, like, he's good for hundreds of years. But Leatherface is like, there's no, what's the love interest? What, his mother that's dead in the chair?
the radio
she
DJ
had a love interest in her too. Yeah, Stretch.
Yes. or truly his chainsaw. Like, you can take it any way if you want to. Hey, any opera directors out there, if you want to steal this idea, you could even do from the fourth Texas Chainsaw movie where they're like part of the Illuminati ? Like, there's so many ways that you could take this story.
Jeez, that's just vomit on a page. Like, come on. Stay with the classic, buddy. Stay with the classics.
No, I agree with you. I just don't want to limit any artist's vision.
Like, unless you put lipstick on that freaking chainsaw, I don't think it's running wild.
But think of the guy writing or girl writing the Leatherface opera. Doesn't anyone think of that? You almost had it with he could be in love with his chainsaw, Will, but you had a big task to overtake Team Fly.
That's a big demand.
Fly.
It's a really good idea, Chelsey. As soon as you said the Fly, I was like, oh man, I should have thought of that one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
We all just want to see the Brundle Fly doing a song and dance, really. Yes,
I do.
The end.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my darling.
And I want to see Mark bring it to life.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Will's under the suit.
I wouldn't cast me. I can be the guy who gets his hands melted off. I'll do that. I'll do that role.
That's a good role. All right. You have to audition for that role. That's a
So who's getting the point for that one?
We're up to sports now. Oh, did I give the point? Yeah. Chelsey gets the point there. We're moving on to sports. Oops. There we go. Yeah, we get a graphic, don't we? All right. Change one thing or rule about a sport to make it the best horror sport. Who's up first this time? Will, I think.
I remember that one.
I can be first if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, this was a tough one to nail down, but I decided American football, but the ball's a human head. Now, it's not a 100% map on to the, I mean, unless you're playing football with the kid from Hey Arnold, then you're really in business. But I just think that would really spice things up a bit. If you want to deal with a bit of splatter, that can that can factor into the plays. I think you could also have some amazing touchdown celebrations with the head being a football. And I just think that it's quite the striking image, I think, to have somebody throw a long bomb down. I don't know football very well, so I'm probably going to mess this up, but throw in the head, and then the head's coming at you, and you have to decide, am I going to catch a human head, or do I and then as you struggle with this unbelievable mental struggle, you may fumble the ball. So it was a fun thought exercise. I enjoyed thinking about that, and I like that.
Head ball. All right.
Head ball.
All right. No, Chelsea's up next. I'm going in order. All right.
All right. I said add an animal that can swim to swimming. Like when people are swimming, add a shark or an alligator, or like piranhas. Just something that they have to actually swim from. You know, make it like if you don't get to the end, the shark's going to get you.
Keep on swimming.
Or, you know, make it to the end while piranhas are gnawing at your skin.
Oh my God.
I think that would just be a super fun time. And it would make it a lot more exciting because swimming is quite boring to begin with. And they think they're so fast. Well, are you fast against an alligator? Let's see. Let's find out.
Alligator fast or just
and that's all
human
that is.
fast?
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
All right, Mark.
I came in with lacrosse. It's self-explanatory once again. Action. They have sticks. There's a ball somewhere. The ball doesn't have to be round. There's plenty of limbs. There's people with like loads of armor. They're running. They're sweating. And they're dying. Like you have everything from heads and helmets to limbs and protective gear just laying around on the. It's a quick change. Like they're big teams, right? Because obviously,
What did you change about the sport?
not much really. Just what they have in there. It's like,
I think you had
it's
more
already
hammers.
pretty freaking violent, like for a
Oh,
sport.
Warhammers.
Yeah, just add like that Dead Rising kind of skill saw blade and something else on it. Like, come on.
All right. Open debate.
So this is like as full contact as lacrosse gets. Like we're talking, there's going to be a body count.
Yeah, like lacrosse is level 1, and you just jump like up like 7 and 8.
Okay. Are there nets at the end of these hammers, or are we even bothering with like the whole pretense of the ball?
That's a overthought. Like, okay.
You're overthinking this death lacrosse, Will.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
the ball, as long as the ball goes from one end to the net, the opposite net, and whatever is in the middle, then fair game.
By any means necessary, lacrosse
Exactly.
line. Yeah.
Get the round object in the net. Period.
I love
like the removal of all the rules. It wasn't like changing a rule. It's just like, I'm just going to get rid of everything that keeps people safe. And there's your sport.
Exactly. Murder
It's like-
ball.
it's like the video game For Honor, but there's a ball in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Chelsey, I loved the swimming thing. It seemed like you at the end there. It almost seemed like you have a bit of a vendetta against swimmers of just like they think they're so fast. Well, how fast are you?
It's more of like a vendetta against people that are always like, you got the bullfighting and all that, and even hunting for sport, and they're like, oh, we're so cool. It's like, well, yeah, but you have a gun, you have the upper hand. Like, it'd be nice to see these animals stand a chance if they got to fight against the humans.
But
But
okay, so
this isn't for me. This is for the alligators and the sharks. It's
Okay,
for them to
all
get their vengeance.
have the swimmers wronged them in some way that I'm not aware of?
No, well, maybe. I don't know. We'll say yeah. We'll say yeah.
Now,
The alligator skin swimsuits.
now, if they feed them right before, like, because that can be like something like doping. I don't know. They feed all the animals so that nothing happens. You just float there like fucking. Is there
I don't
is
know.
there a penalty for that, or it's somebody's
feeding
going to be at the, or somebody chumming the water right at the end?
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
Oh, then you'd really have to swim. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like Olympic. That's like Olympic level.
That's the Olympic level.
Well, you need the
Because
Olympic pool to get all the animals in there. You know.
there'd probably be like tiers of it, like crocodile, alligator, whatever breeds of shark you're using. Yeah, just in terms of speed and ferociousness, I suppose.
And then
Well, if we
they
dump
get
them
bored-
all in, if we dump all the swimming animals in, they'd have to fight each other, and then maybe they'd get a human. You know what I mean? Then maybe they'd have a
That's
chance
not
to
a for
swim.
sure thing, though.
So
It's not. That's the risk of the game.
This is quickly becoming like underwater blood sport between animals. I don't know if I want to see animals kill each other. Weirdly enough, I'd rather see animals kill people in this scenario.
If you go like for quickness, action, and everything, I think lacrosse wins across the board.
Lacrosse. The board.
What about headball?
Oh, does he? Oh, that's a good question. Does he have a chin strap?
I think it would depend on the rules of the country. It would depend on like so for example, in America, it's like would the head have to be in a helmet for safe concussion practices? Maybe in Europe it wouldn't have to be if it's in rugby style sport. I don't know.
Protection for who? The head?
It's not protection for the head. It's like to continually promote head health for the living, you know? It's a message. They're trying to get a message across.
Okay.
This was a fun one. I don't know. Like football's boring, and head football is still boring by the sounds of it.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It was, but like I said, it was fun to think about.
It was, yeah. And the shark thing, like you had it, Chelsey, right up until like I think it was Will who said like, well, the animals are just all gonna fight each other, and that's just like a whole nother show where it's just animals killing each other in a pool. So the murder lacrosse takes this one. Mark gets the point. I'm surprised because it's like the least horror element. He's just like, no, they're just gonna play a little harder and actually kill each other. But
murder's pretty.
That works. It would be intense and it would be gruesome. And yeah, I think that fits all the criteria.
You're about to score and your stick is stuck in somebody's head.
It does sound exciting. Very exciting.
I would see that.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to history. I did make Will go out of turn last time, didn't I? Sorry, Will. We'll have Mark go first this time.
It's all good.
Are you gonna read the question?
Nope. Which deck? I was testing the eyesight of the competitors. This is a multi-level thing.
I'm an old man.
Which decade of the 20th century makes for the best horror setting? Mark, you're up first.
I believe I said early 1900s.
Yeah. What was the exact decade he said there, Murphy?
1900 to 1910. So the first 10 years.
Like the explosion of the building era kind of thing.
Industrial revolution and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Just because they went from, like, I had in mind like Victorian era when people had parties with an actual Egyptian mummy in the corner of their of their living room, like that kind of weirdness. Like you can mix anything, like a new technology, a steampunky stuff, or fantasy and magic, or big contrast, like a big contrast. I like that. Like it's a clash of like what they think and like the early science kind of deal.
The old world versus the new world kind of coming together. Yeah, very good. All right, Chelsey.
I said the 1950s, just because there was so much to work with there. Like they had, they're going to space, so we have like a whole, if you want to do the alien kind of theme, they were doing a lot more vaccines. So we all know where vaccines will get you. Some zombies, usually. That's how it ends up. And TV. That was when TV kind of started becoming more popular, at least in the United States, and that. And that could kind of lead to a whole mind control thing. Like we just had so many different things to work with in the 1950s that could have gone wrong. Well, they did go wrong, but they could have been a lot worse. Yeah. Lots of ideas for the 1950s and creepy stuff.
All right. Moving on to Will.
Yeah, so my pick was the 1980s. Currently, we're still going through quite a 1980s nostalgia revival that seems to be never ending. But I like the 1980s because it's close enough to where we are in modern day, but still very much removed. So a lot of elements of what we think of as the history of 1980s, it has this sparkly neon sheen that we all like to remember, and all the wild fashion and fun trends. There's still making movies this year that take place in the 1980s, but there's a level of darkness underneath there. The Satanic Panic happened in the 1980s, which is just rife for horror media to be made about it. All of the horrible things that were happening, all the kind of crises that were happening, humanitarian crises, health crises. And it was really, really a fraught time that we were trying to put a happy face onto. And that really scares me, like just on a human level.
Interesting. Very interesting take. All right. So, open debate.
'50s, like it's there's such an interesting idealized image that we have of like the 1950s as history, but you made a lot of really good points, Chelsey, about like all the stuff that was going on then that was really untested at the time, that thankfully most of it, we're still here, ended up okay, but who knows, it was a little bit of Wild West thinking going on then.
Mm-hmm.
Wild West? I'm sorry, but early 1900s, they were drinking arsenic, for God's sakes.
I was wondering if you were going to call me on that one.
Come on now. Like, Coca-Cola started with cocaine, with actual cocaine in it.
Cola zombies.
Everything's fine.
People were literally eating lead just because it looks cool in a nice plant.
You do make a good
Apparently
point.
It tastes like chocolate.
Yeah.
You do make a good point. I don't think that there's, like, offhand, besides the earliest horror movies, I can't think of a lot of properties that make use of that specific decade for horror stories. So we might be dealing with some untapped potential.
Like if you look like even Pinky Blinders, like it's too. I think it's too early, like too late in the 1900s. Like really at the end of, I think at the end of Victorian era, start of the Industrial Revolution, whatever. Like I said, they were drinking arsenic and like fucking mercury and shit. And like, come on, like how dumb can you be? Plus, it looked cool. Like it's like people were actually nicely dressed, like top hat and all that stuff. Like it has a style to it. Like visually, I think it's more striking than the 80s, because who here was born in the 80s or before the 80s? I was too. I'm 50, so I lived through them, and there's nothing really about the 80s. Like it's good music, Cyndi Lauper and stuff, but man.
The Cyndi Lauper scored horror movie.
Did she? Oh, the Goonies.
She should have.
Oh.
She did the Goonies.
1950s also, you're starting to get into like the atomic age as well, like the nuclear bomb kind of scare. So that's rife as well.
Don't give points away. This is a debate show.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
You're supposed to say the 50s suck.
Yeah.
Well, now I've held both of them, so now you have to decide. I mean,
Yeah, it's true.
It's just like so many of my own favorite horror things are from the 80s. And when I answered that question as well, I was also taking into account like I love the practical effects of the films of that decade, which we were kind of talking about it more on a conceptual level. But yeah, that's just another thing I would add to the 80s. Just so many great movies in that decade as well.
True. But still, 1900s, there's shit everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
They're using like lead for makeup in the 1900s too, weren't they?
Oh, there was lead everywhere.
I kind of like that
I
idea.
loved
Like everybody looked nice, but I bet under all that makeup, their skin probably looked like shit.
Yeah, and
like-
just out of just go Google stuff that people were eating or whatever, and what was the ingredient, just for the fun of it.
How did we make it out of that decade?
Some didn't.
Some didn't. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, you had it, Mark. You had this one. I like the setting with the style and the play on what people are eating and stuff. They could be mercury zombies and stuff. I never really thought of it. It's an interesting setting. Yeah, I'm gonna give Mark the point on that one.
Oh yeah, score.
Will's got to stop giving points away.
I just everybody has cool ideas. I want to.
Yeah, well, we discussed those when the cameras are off. It's war here now. You know.
It's war.
I'm too nice.
I know you are very nice, Will. That's why I think you're great.
Yay! Horror.
Horror. All right, WILDCARD. What is the This is a good one. Could be anything. What is the scariest monster of film, literature, or mythology? And Chelsey's up first.
Hands down, 100% deadites. I personally am terrified of them. It's the whole fact that it's like they're not quite zombies; they're more like possessed, right? So this person, your best friend, can just be talking to you, acting normal, and then all of a sudden they're trying to like eat your soul. And the thing is, you don't have to read from the book. Some asshole like 4 doors down from you can read from the book, and you have a deadite problem because they don't just hang out, where the book is. They wander around and want to take over the world. Like it just takes one asshole to read from that book, and you got a deadite problem. And I'm not down with that because I couldn't deal with that. A zombie, maybe yes, but deadites are stronger and they're smarter, and they mess with you. I don't like them, not one bit. Well, I like them. I watch them, but whenever I'm in my basement doing laundry or something, my brain always just goes to deadites, and I kind of hustle up those stairs a bit quicker. Yeah. So I don't need that in my life. No.
So if your opponents want to argue against a single deadite, who's the scariest deadite?
The scariest deadite? Actually, the one from the new Evil Dead, like the one that just came out, Evil Dead Rise. The mom, she was creepy as hell. That bathtub scene, oof. I loved it, but I think about it all the time.
Okay. Mark.
What did I say? Why are you laughing? Dude, give me a break.
Oh, it's laughter of joy and respect.
Joy and respect.
You
Did
said
I say
human
humans?
beings.
Oh, you chose humans. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I truly believe that humans are they're capable of the worst, like really the worst. An animal is expected to flip, like to go from totally rampage to loving. Humans are sneaky about it, like chimpanzees, like they gang up. And my, like, personally, like, the most horror I had in a movie was watching The Strangers. That to me was awful. Just pure horror. Like, just being told, like, why us? And the response is, because you were there. I think just that little thing is enough to shit your pants.
All right. Will.
I'm going to slightly agree with Mark in that I think the greatest monster certainly looks like a human. And because my pick is The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing. Every time I watch this movie, what really freaks me out about this, first of all, if The Thing were ever to get out into the world, it would take over, I believe it's 2 or 3 years for total global takeover. And the thing is, you don't know what its actual form is. You see all of these different amalgams of seemingly other alien species that it has taken over. It could be as small as a germ. Thankfully, we never know. But if MacReady and Childs didn't take care of it and it made its way to human civilization, and you can see this in some of the comics that are based on The Thing, it goes really fucking bad. And it's really terrifying because you have people who used to be your friends and family who are not your friends and family anymore. And seemingly all they want to do is kill you and subsume you and take over an entire planet, entire way of life. It's really fucking scary. Love that movie.
All right, open debate.
I'm going to say with the humans, the thing is you can kill a human. And I'm not saying that to be creepy, but like if somebody were to intrude into your house, you could at least, like, if you were prepared, you could at least, stab them and kill them in a easy manner.
That's what you
Unlike
think.
a monster where you have
That's
to
what
either
you
chop
think.
it up or, yeah.
Like, how many times did I see people, oh, and that happens, and then they change their pants when it happens. And nothing.
Well, some people might, but some people might not. You never know in that situation. But the fact is, in a situation where a human, if you did have that in you to kill them, you could. You possibly could. It is possible. They're not indestructible. Like,
yeah, one-on-one, it's always cool. But when they gang up, it's like zombies. A horde is like, it's another.
A horde of humans is different. But like 3 of them breaking into my house, give them a little smack upside the head.
All you need is one guy that go, hey, let's go do this. Go.
Chelsey, your Deadites one was great. They are really scary. What I take issue with is it's what is the scariest monster? Sometimes, depending on the movie, those Deadites are pretty funny. Like, as much as I would be in fear of my life, every once in a while, they get a pretty decent gag in there. Evil Dead 2, running around.
They're known for one-liner history. Like, those movies are like one-liner quote for decades.
Yeah, well, they're funny if it's not happening to you. But I mean, if a little hand was across my floor trying to strangle me, I'd be like, no, that's not funny.
Bruce, that back kick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would also kind of be interested in seeing the bad version of myself, that Deadite version of just like, all right, I'm a little curious, even though it would probably lead to me dying. Bad Will and Evil Will, yeah.
I'm curious. Evil self, like, could I really beat up my evil self? That's a good thought. Or would we just become friends?
Who fights dirtier, good or evil version?
Yeah, we just bond. I'd have a roommate, pay heavy rent.
Like Scott Pilgrim?
I understand.
Yeah, it turns out he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. Will, what was yours again?
Mine was The Thing.
The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, The Thing is comes right here for me.
It's great.
It's there's a really cool game called Carrion. I played it on the Nintendo Switch, and it's a creature that is essentially like the Thing, and you get to play as it. And seeing it from that perspective is like having essentially you're invading people's bodies, taking them over, and it's just like John Carpenter's The Thing. The movie is so cool that you don't have time to think about the actual like threat of this. And for me, when I take a second to think about the reality of a creature killing you and assuming your form and then acting exactly like you.
It's like the Buddy Snatchers. But the effects, like it was the birth of the best effects.
Yes.
Ever. It's
like
still the best.
Like, I think it's one of the only times that the producer just went, all right, do whatever you want.
He nearly killed himself making those, but man, they look good. And thankfully he survived.
Yeah, those are really good. Yeah. But still human.
All right. but still humans. Oh, damn, we're going to need our tiebreaker because Will got this one. Yes. So.
Like, yes.
Well, and I'm not just picking you because The Thing is my favorite horror movie, which it probably is. I love that movie. Maybe my favorite movie. I freaking love that movie.
It's in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the tiebreaker. So everyone just shout out your picks, and whoever gets there first can go first. So the tiebreaker. Oops. Which horror villain would make the best protector? So
Jason.
I said Jason.
Oh, well, Will got Jason. He got there first. So, Will, you go first with Jason. You guys have time to think of who you're going to pick.
All right. Indestructible, single-minded, really, really good with a machete. Yeah, and very family-minded is Jason. Now, granted, maternal, but in Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason, bless him. He's a simple man. He's a simple man. You put in a nice cardigan. You kind of speak in a higher register, Jason. This is your mother speaking. You could fool him, and then he's yours, and then he's potty in your hands, and he'll kill anybody for you, and you know he can do it. You know what? I believe in that big 7-foot tank of a bastard. He's my protector. He's who I want on my side.
Oh, jeez. That was good. All right, you can see the rest of your time?
Yes, sorry. I concede.
All right. Mark and Chelsey, who wants what?
Shit.
Who's your picks?
Who's my pick?
Yeah. Just shout it out. Next one to shout it out goes next.
I need something cool. Something cool.
Are they just naturally going to be nice to you, or do you have to like train them to be nice to you?
No, they're your protector. Well, no, you know what? Leave that up to the debate.
I'll say Art the Clown. I think he'd be a good protector.
Art the Clown.
Yeah, I mean, he's technically, they decide he's a demon, and he's like super fun. You'd have a fun time killing your enemies. And I mean, technically, if you just act like you're as crazy as he is, he'd probably leave you alone. You know what I mean? Like if he brings you a bloody head, it'd be like a cat when they bring you a mouse and, you know, they just drop the dead body on your doorstep. If you're just like, oh, Art, you silly goose, get your food and just make him a little meal. I feel if you just treated him like a little pet, he would be nice to you and go and kill your enemies or anybody on your lawn or on your property. Yeah, he'd be a bit out of control, but I mean, what are you going to do, right?
It's the cleanup.
I think he'd be like a little pet, but he'd protect you. It'd be good. Mm-hmm.
All right. Mark, who you got?
I'm going to say a xenomorph egg.
Okay. Xenomorph egg is your protector.
Yeah. Close the door, and it's outside. Come on in, bastards. And then when you wake up, you open the door and you just put them back in the closet. Close the door. Slowly. Change the temperature, humidity, and stuff just to make sure that they don't pop while you're doing your groceries or whatever. And when you come back, you just pull everything out, close the door. You're safe. That's a good alarm system too, I think. I'm pretty sure you can train them with food or oboes or whatever is on the walking up front. A bit like a vampire, like yeah. Oh, vampire, that's a good one too. Oh. I want a werewolf. That's what I want.
It's too late.
Oh, damn it!
It's too late. It's a xenomorph egg. It's the pillow in the bed you've just made. Hey, Murphy, I just realized I have to give out 2 points for this round, or it's not much of a three-way tiebreak.
Actually, what you're going to do for this one is whoever has the weakest argument
That's what I meant.
does not get the point. So, Mark, good luck.
Oh!
That's not nice.
That's not nice at all. Open debate. Which is also not nice.
I feel like the xenomorph would be really hard to control. Like, this is assuming, like, you were talking about putting it behind a door. Like, you're putting a lot of faith into that door to keep that.
You don't go into this kind of security system kind of deal in the like just free willy. Like you had to plan. You had to make some like Google search and stuff, like just to make sure that just keep your in your back pocket.
Google how to control a xenomorph.
Burn through all the crates.
What?
The xenomorph. They got like the acid spit. So even if you tried to like kennel it, it would just kind of spit through the kennel and get out, and then you'd have a lawsuit on your hands.
I can't imagine a scenario where you're training a xenomorph and you're not at least losing one limb minimum.
Well, you don't have to be present. You send somebody else.
And then you send somebody else. And then you send somebody else. And then you send somebody else. And then then you're training it. Hey, I keep eating humans and they keep giving me humans to eat. This is great.
Keep a lion fed, well fed. He's not gonna bug you.
I wouldn't know. I've never trained a lion, in fairness.
Plus, it's
and you, sir, haven't lived.
Chelsey, I will say that Art the Clown has the added advantage. I just watched Terrifier 2 the other day. I always forget he can just use guns too. Like sometimes he'll just pull a piece out. It's not. But Jason, bulletproof. I'm not worried.
Well, Jason regenerates, does he not? Is that not what we learned in Jason X, where they just kind of were like he regenerates? That solves all the problems.
You can't count that. You can't count that one. That one's a shitty movie.
You count that one. It all counts.
We can't count out the shitty movies.
That was a genetic mistake. It should have not existed at all.
If we weren't counting the shitty movies and horror franchises, we wouldn't even be here.
That is blasphemy.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it's shitty. I'm just saying it needs to be.
We love shitty, is what he's saying.
Yes.
I love Jason too. Like I got him tattooed, so it's kind of I can see that in the corner of the room, like just there. Ooh, that could be.
I just stand behind him. I just like act like his shadow. I'm just like, yeah, no, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
You put an egg beside it.
Although, but Jason has the hockey mask. It can't get through the mask. Can't face hug him.
Oh, that's a valid point.
You can still choke him and rip his head off because Jason's pretty softy, like it's gross and gooey and shit.
I would like to see. I would like to see a Jason xenomorph. That would be
that would be disturbing.
That's what I thought was going to happen in Jason X, and it didn't.
Would the xenomorph just be born with the hockey mask?
That's pushing it. That's just pushing it.
Jason X was pushing it.
Hockey mask pattern.
Jason X should not be mentioned.
Yeah, my bad. All right.
My bad.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of this debate. And, it was a brave choice, Mark. It was a brave choice picking an egg as your security detail.
Intimidation factor. Come on. Like,
yeah, it didn't quite make the cut, though.
But in all the Alien movies, they put their face right up to it. There is no intimidation factor until it's too late.
It doesn't help in like the last 10 to 15 seconds of your opening statements. You try to change your pick.
come on, man. Give me a break. It's 50. It's 10 o'clock. Come on.
I know it is late, and I understand being tired.
And now it's time for the speed round.
But now it's time for the speed round. But honestly, this is one of the closest ones we've had in a while. Like that was an awesome opening 6 rounds there, you guys. So here we are in the speed round. So the way this works, Chelsey and Will, I'm not sure exactly how much time you get, but not much. And I'll
30
say the
seconds.
30
It's 30 seconds, and then if the judge requests a rebuttal of an additional 15 seconds, there will be rebuttals of 15 seconds. Judges request that, so you get 30 seconds to wow. There's generally 30 and then 15 rebuttal, but let's try this method.
All right. So just shout out whoever gets to me first gets their pick. So speed round movies. Who's more iconic classic horror actor, Karloff, Lugosi, or Vincent Price?
Price.
All right, Price. Chelsey, why is it Price?
I feel like he is more well-known and more popular. Like, even people who aren't really into horror know who Vincent Price is. I think he marketed himself, in a good way. So I just think because he's more well-known, it's more of a classic, I guess.
Okay, Will.
It's got to be Bela Lugosi because for the last 100+ years, almost 100 years. Sorry, for the last almost century. What do we know of as the vampire impression? Bleh, bleh, I want to suck your blood. Where does that accent come from? It's Lugosi's accent. Listen to them, the children of the night. They made a cereal out of it. You can't think of vampires and not think of Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Rebuttal.
I would say Price as well. Price is too well-rounded.
You stay out of this.
What?
Rebuttal, Chelsey.
Price was in Thriller. Like, even Michael Jackson wanted Vincent Price in his video. He's cool as hell. Like, everybody knows him. You say Vincent Price, and they're like, yeah, that guy with the cool voice. He's well known.
We don't need another rebuttal. I'm giving this one to Will. All right. So, speed round TV. Here we go. Which is better as a children's cartoon, Nightmare on Elm Street or Child's Play?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Child's Play.
Okay, Will, why is it Nightmare on Elm Street? Ooh, they both got the pick they wanted.
In the dream dimension, there is no limit to the amount of places that you can go to. A child's imagination is one of their strongest aspects of their life, and Freddy deals completely in imagination. Just think about all of the places that you could go in a children's cartoon if they're going there in dreams. And Freddy is already so scary in every single way. In a children's cartoon, I think, I want to see this. I'm getting excited for this cartoon that doesn't exist.
Chelsey. Oh,
Child's Play. It's a doll. Every kid has a doll. Every kid plays with dolls. Imagine. Oh, we good?
Yeah, you're
it's
good.
A doll. Kids play with dolls. Kids play with toys. So I mean, to have a toy that comes to life would be like a kid's dream, and you could go really dark, or you could go really light. Like Chucky could be just a typical good guy doll. He's a kid's toy. It'd be great to see kids see him. I think in general, kids seem to really like Chucky. Like even nowadays, because kids are weird. But he appeals to the younger generation because he's a toy.
All right, Beetlejuice versus My Pet Monster. Rebuttal, Will.
I would just say that Child's Play is the way to get kids watching horror movies. So they already have the movies, and there is already a Chucky cartoon in the Child's Play movies in like the little toy commercial that they have for him. So it kind of already exists.
Rebuttal, Chelsey.
Well, like Freddy Krueger kidnaps kids. Nobody wants to watch a show about a guy who kidnaps them. And he does nasty things to kids. That's just, no, kids would be terrified. They'd be like, what is this bullshit? This man with the claws is going to come get me for no reason.
They would be terrified.
Yeah.
Damn, Chelsey gets it with the last rebuttal. Point, Chelsey. All right. I loved My Pet Monster. All right, so scariest band, Guar or Cannibal Corpse?
Cannibal Corpse.
Okay, why is it Cannibal Corpse?
Truly horrifying, just absolutely disgusting lyrics and album art. I still have a hard time, like, even just looking at the Cannibal Corpse album covers. They are gore on a level that almost shouldn't be thought of, and feel every time I look at them or even listen to Corpse Grinder's vocals, it just like it feels illegal. It feels like I shouldn't be listening to it. It's just like it hits the wrong center of my brain. I just yeah, that's the feeling it summons in me.
All right, Chelsey, Guar.
I will say, well, you got a whole group of aliens from another planet. And they come to their shows with weapons. So, you're getting shot at with giant dicks and guns of blood and slime. And I've seen them. It's kind of a mess, but it's a good time. But, and they were more, do you remember when they had to go on talk shows and that because they were scaring the adults because they were like corrupting their teenagers? Like, I think that teenage corruption, that's scary.
Rebuttal.
I think while you were talking about Guar, I laughed because Guar are funny, and like, yes, they look terrifying, but they like there's a lot of their songs. Like I listen to them, just like, this is awesome. Like it's so entertaining that it's hard to be scared by them.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuttal.
Cannibal Corpse. I mean, they do have the imagery and all that, but if you saw them just walking down the street, it would just look like some metalheads. Whereas if you saw, Gore walking down the street, you'd be like, the fuck is that? Especially in like full costume.
Corpse Grinder's got like a weird neck though. Like every time I see a picture of him, I'm like, but not to the degree of Gore, I suppose.
What do you think, Mark?
Dude, I don't know those two bands.
Okay.
So, I would go Gore because I think they're more big. Like I think they're bigger. Like it's more caricatural kind of stuff. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going with.
I guess.
I think I'm going Will.
I was gonna say Chelsey had me with the streets debate, but if you're giving it Will, you're giving it Will.
Yeah. Well, Will kind of convinced me with Guar being kind of funny. And
they are funny.
Yeah, they are funny. Yeah. Their videos were funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so sports. We have who's the better athlete, Ash Williams or Shaun of the Dead?
Ash.
Well, you're out of this contest, but who else?
Was that Will who said Ash? I'm saying Ash.
No.
Oh, no, you got Ash. That was Mark.
I'm saying Shaun.
Ah,
Okay, Mark said Ash.
Yeah, so you can
it's-
have
it's-
Ash, Chelsey.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is it Ash, Chelsey?
Well, I mean, look at what the guy's been through. Like, that guy can take a hit and just keep on ticking. Like, he does not give a shit. And he can lose an arm and still keep going. He's must be pretty fast if he can fight all those deadites. He's got like a good solid punch on him. He's got that fucking hand from Army of Darkness, like the metal hand to make up for the one he lost. He's got his boomstick. I guess that doesn't really help with an athlete, but I guess no, because shotguns have that back. Like, you got to have a strong shoulder for that, so that's athletic.
Shaun does a lot of like running and leaping in Shaun of the Dead. Like, he has to outrun the horde of zombies at the end there. He does that awesome jump with the trampoline over the fence. Like, I certainly couldn't do that. He does that sweet helicopter dance move. He knows he has a bit of dance steps to him. That takes a degree of athleticism. I think that his physique is not imposing, but he's got like a long clock on him in terms of how long he can run and keep up athletically. I think he shows that in the movie.
Well, I mean, Ash also has stamina, but like he'll be awake for days. Like, there's times where he doesn't sleep and he's still up and fighting. I think Shaun was mostly just luck, and he drinks so much beer. Like, there's nobody who drinks that much beer can be that athletic. You gotta, yeah.
My rebuttal is that Ash got his ass kicked by his hand, and I don't know. That doesn't speak necessarily to his athleticism. Bruce Campbell is a performer, yes, but man, if your limb can take you down, I'm not feeling it in terms of athleticism.
I'm actually giving this one to Chelsey because I think you just convinced me that his hand is actually an incredible athlete as well. Yeah, I'll give this one to Chelsey.
No, I think you made a good one.
All right. So, Jesus, this is a close competition tonight. So, history. Who would make the scariest vampire, Albert Einstein or Cleopatra?
Cleopatra.
I heard Will first. What?
I don't know who said it first. I think we said it at the same time.
I heard Will as well. So.
I heard Will's as well.
Yeah, well, it's Cleopatra.
All right. Cleopatra already a historical reputation as somebody with an ability to command the imaginations and the wills of other people without vampiric powers. You give that to her, you allow her to thrall people through mystical powers and to convert people by making them into vampires and have command of a gigantic army. That's pretty freaking scary.
Chelsey.
All right, Albert Einstein. I guess, like, he's smart, so he'd probably have a pretty good vampire plan. I don't feel he'd be like the one that would just go right out there and just start a vampire army. I feel he would sit down and like plan it out, and everything would be fine. And then he'd have the big army secretly, so that he could just conquer, immediately with nobody even knowing what's going on because he thought about it with his big Einstein brain. Yeah.
Rebuttal.
Albert Einstein doesn't strike me as the type of person who would be comfortable with being evil. He'd be one of those woe is me vampires of just like, oh, I can't believe I have to kill people and drink their blood. I don't think Cleopatra would have any compunctions against killing people and drinking their blood.
Oh, I need to hear a rebuttal to that.
I feel like Cleopatra would probably have like an ego on her that she wouldn't want to turn into anybody else into vampires. She'd be like, I'm the only vampire. And that's how it's going to go. And she would just have a bunch of like slaves or whatever. What are they called? The vampire.
Familiars.
Familiars. Yeah, she'd just have a bunch of familiars instead of conquering.
All right. Point, Will. Yes. You both wanted to argue for that one. All right. If you hear screaming, it's on point for a Halloween themed show. All right, so speed round wild card. Here we go. Who has left a bigger mark on horror, John Carpenter or Wes Craven?
John Carpenter.
Wes Craven.
Okay.
All right.
Will
Go.
first.
Why is it John Carpenter, Will?
John Carpenter, of the horror films that he made, they are not only incredibly well remembered, such as The Thing and Halloween, but in the case of Halloween, it spawned a multimedia franchise that is still going today. And his other horror movies, like Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness, kept H.P. Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos also going into mainstream horror to different degrees. And I just think his style of writing and the way that he makes films impacted movies going forward. Horror movies going forward.
I feel like Wes Craven had horror movies that appealed to the younger generation, which was really smart to do, because now when he started making movies, teenagers were more into the horror and that. And he also had Nightmare on Elm Street, which spawned and is still going. I mean, Freddy Krueger is pretty much an icon, as is Ghostface. So yeah, I feel like he really did. And his movies were so fresh, I guess.
I don't want to rebut that. Okay. Wes Craven had, I think, the greater output of horror films, but in terms of amount made, but John Carpenter's, I think, had the bigger impact just based on how well remembered they are today.
Chelsey?
I think you get a rebuttal, Chelsey.
Sorry. John Carpenter, though, like, even if you look at that Thing, it wasn't cool at the time. Like, at the time, it fucking sucked. Like, not that it was a bad movie, but they weren't ready for that. I feel like he was too far ahead of his time. So,
but their kids were going to love it.
Exactly. And we did. We did.
You're muted, Skelvira.
Point Chelsea. We have to go to the tiebreaker yet again. Wow.
I didn't want to argue against Wes Craven. I felt so dirty.
I don't really want to argue against John Carpenter either. I mean,
They're
Yeah, I
both
know, that's a mean
so
one.
good.
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
How can you argue gods?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, seriously. What do you think on that one, Mark? Craven or Carpenter?
It's too on the nose. Like there's too many. There's classics on and legends on both sides. You can't. They hit a chord differently, but it's too close. It's too close.
Yeah.
That is a hard one. All right, it's not an easy job I have here. Speed round tiebreaker. Which is scarier, Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Goosebumps.
Are you afraid of the
All right. Why is it Goosebumps, Will?
Goosebumps was it used a lot more, like, this is gonna sound so bad, I'm sorry. Used a lot more fluids to get its point across. Monster blood. It's a lot goopier. There's not a lot of blood, but it's like baby's first gore. And that blew my little mind when I saw it on television. It was on television. I know Are You Afraid of the Dark was on television as well, but there's a lot more visceral terror, a lot more like fangs, scary faces, things that are more immediately scary to children that I feel Goosebumps really did quite well.
Chelsea.
I find Are You Afraid of the Dark had more stories that were more plausible, I guess. Like Goosebumps, it was a lot of monsters and creatures, and Are You Afraid of the Dark, it was more like ghosts and creepy clowns and, more like cautious tales, whereas Goosebumps was more of a story. But yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark was more cautionary tales about what you should and shouldn't do, and don't be messing around with things or bad stuff is going to happen.
Rebuttal.
I feel like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Maybe I was a dumb child. Was a bit too cerebral for me. Of just like, oh, if you steal this clown's nose, he'll come to get you. I just won't steal the clown's nose. You know, just when it's just like, I know why a monster is scary. I don't know why a voice behind the door is scary at that age.
Rebuttal.
But with Goosebumps, a lot of that stuff just wasn't plausible. You know what I mean? Like it was less plausible that a dummy named Slappy is gonna get up and start talking to you like they were fun, or like go to Horrorland or something where it's a theme park full of monsters. Like that's not a thing that
Wow. What a night of debates we had here. But we have a winner in Chelsey.
Yay.
Nice.
Well argued. Again, I felt terrible trying to argue against Are You Afraid of the Dark, but you represented it very well.
The cerebral angle was a good way to go, but the not being as plausible with the stories they tell in Goosebumps was kind of the nail in the coffin, if you will.
Yes. But I do love Goosebumps. I will say that.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
There's a new one. I haven't watched it yet, but I keep seeing it up there.
Yeah, I saw that too. I haven't got a chance to watch it, but I hear
It's
good things.
not bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I watched the first couple of episodes. It's pretty good.
Mhm.
All right, well, check it out. Well, congratulations, Chelsey.
Yay.
Yay.
And thanks everybody. That was super fun. Great debates
That was
all
fun.
around.
Yeah.
You guys should plug your various ventures. Why don't we start with Chelsey, our champion?
What are we plugging? What we're doing here?
Yeah, you can plug your awesome horror dolls.
Oh yeah, I brought some dolls to show you guys.
Sweet, they're
Because
the best.
I'm good at crocheting, but I'm bad at taking pictures, so I always feel bad because my pictures look like shit. So I want to show them on here. Like this is like my killer clown, like super big.
Yeah, killer clown.
Ooh.
I'm showing you because he's my favorite, and he comes with the little officer movie. And they're all posable too.
Collect the whole
you can,
set.
you can like move their little
What?
arms and
I
like.
didn't even know they did that. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're like little action figures. Like I want to do stop motion with them, but stop motion takes so much time, and I don't have the time.
It's so worth it.
But yeah, and I made this is my little snake Pliskin.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's a
It's
classic.
got like his little like pants and everything. The camera's not really showing it too well, but yeah, no, I like do a lot of detailing on them. Like everything is like to exact.
Yeah, you
much
got
as
the
I
butt perfectly.
Where
Yeah,
can
I
we
know that.
find
Like
sweet
Pliskin
butts like
Right,
these?
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that's what I do, and you can find me at Tales from the Stitch. So I have the website talesfromthestitch.com, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well. And then you can see all my work.
Awesome. Check that out, everybody. I have. Will,
I am
what you got
following.
going?
I am following Tales from the Stitch on Twitter as we speak. But as for me, it's in my name there. So in case you love horror, you'll love my podcast about the PBS Kids show Arthur. I have a podcast where we're going through every episode of Arthur. We've been doing it since 2016. My co-host Lucas Mancini and I, we are available on your favorite podcast service. We're also available on YouTube. We have over 200 episodes. I'm really proud of the show that we do. We also have a Patreon with bonus podcasts where we talk about other PBS Kids shows and other shows of our childhood. Patreon.com/Elwood City Limits. And we are also on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. You can also follow me on Twitter at Will is also young. And I also write about professional wrestling, in case you couldn't tell from the shirt that I'm wearing. You can check me on Twitter at CC_PW or creativecontrol.wordpress.com.
Will's the top guy.
Yeah, we could have had Will on the wrestling episode.
Oh, there was a wrestling episode? Oh,
There was.
man.
There will be
Aw.
another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
yeah,
remember me for that one.
Got it. And Mark, where can they find your very fine work?
Well, thank you. Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that cool stuff. You can look at Sergeant Marc Devault. I'm working on finishing up. Well, I'm starting a chopper, like the R2 unit kind of thing. I do commissions. I know if Chris had the pictures of Reagan and stuff.
Yeah. Any fans of my X-Men show have seen your gremlins in Andre's background.
Score! That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I love do replicas. I love doing pretty much any kind of build that you have in mind. And we because I'm not alone in that venture, but we're starting a horror movie from the ground up. And what else? Pretty much it, really. Like, yeah, that's Reagan.
That's
cool.
so fucking cool.
That's amazing.
I like
Gosh, it looks
Just
so good.
examples
the
of our
peas
master
are
of horror.
Yeah, so anything from Predator, which I still have to redo because he's dismantled in the shed. Because I have to leave room. Like my wife's like, that's a bit much. Take some out. Move them around. All right.
Everything on the man's wall is handmade.
Amazing.
Yeah, everything. Every single thing. And I'm the proud owner of a piece that Gunnar Hansen signed for me in Tatamagush.
Wow.
What is that a piece? Is that a piece of like a Leatherface mask?
No, not at all. It's a piece that I did for my first ever short film when I first started.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
A really cheesy short film. And I didn't want, like, the guy was really nice. I didn't want the regular pictures. I'm like, I'll pay you the same thing as a picture, but I just want this to be signed. He's like, I'll do it for free, man. It looks cool. So he just signed
Speaking
it.
of short films, do you recognize this?
Yes, I do. I do
That
recognize
was not
this.
even a short film.
Well, it was
Well,
not even.
that's
It was a trailer.
that's surprisingly held up well still.
She still
Well, it
holds
took
up
a
strong.
man
I
of
take
your
good care of her.
talents. Took a man of your talents to make me look like Jesus.
Oh, and I
I'll tell you
signed
that.
it too.
Oh, you signed it too. I got your signature here, sir.
Jesus,
This
Lord.
is a worthy
That was an
investment.
awesome friggin' mask, though. Yeah.
That's far from X-Men, man.
Yeah. That's right. You worked on X-Men too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Wow.
Quality of that movie was not your fault. I'll tell you that.
Well, thank you very much. But no, it's in the, like that big, like shows that big. It's a monster of its own.
Yeah.
It's totally. And I don't do like now. I just do stuff that I choose to do because it's too crazy. It's too crazy.
Well, thank you for choosing to do this podcast with us, this little horror-themed episode of Trivial Debates. Thank you, Chelsey, and thank you, Will. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're a part of a federation of podcasts, if you will, at the United Federation of Podcasts here at Trivial Debates. We talk about all sorts of podcasts, like Star Trek over at Live Long and Podcast, where we have various divisions from gaming and radio theater to show reviews and in-depth probes at locutors of Trek. Hosted by our friend Davan and our host here today, who also happens
Season
to be a
2's
host.
coming up here soon. Season 2 coming up. We're going
He
to
also
kick it
happens to
off
be a
with
host?
a metaphysics chat with Richard Hanley, who wrote the Metaphysics of Star Trek.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're going to get into metaphysics there over at Locutors of Trek. He's also a
That's what we
host
do.
over at X-Rated, the X-Men podcast, the X-Men Animated
yeah.
Review Show. They just
That's
finished the long
We did.
haul of backlog of X-Rated. How was that for you?
It's good. It's good. It was a monumental task we undertook, but the entire series has now been reviewed. We're taking 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back with reviewing the X-Men movies, including the one Mark worked on.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
You should join us for that one,
Yeah, I was
actually.
gonna say, maybe you
Yeah.
should hop in on that.
Sure, I got pictures from the set, so
Great.
Deal.
Even better. He's a host with Andre Mayette, who hosts the Graphic Histories podcast, a wonderful podcast where he interviews artists like Marc Devault and Chelsey and stuff. They talk about all things of their life and just how they create their art, from comic books to wherever. You'll find it there at Graphic Histories, especially about whatever. Got reality TV reviews.
I think we got to get Will on that show. Actually, Will, you'd be a good guest on that.
I'm no artist.
Well, yeah, but me neither, and he interviewed me.
Oh, well, in that case, I mean, yeah, no, sure.
I just talked about almost killing Stan Lee and shit. So like, that's not even a good thing. So.
We also got Super Mario Brothers podcast, where they review things like Survivor and Big Brothers and reality TV show and all that sort of stuff. So if you want a little variety in your reality, go check out Super Mario Brothers podcast. If you like movies, we got movie reviews over at the Hold Up podcast, where Davan and I argue our heads off about various things and various Not last time. We were very kosher with Dave Mader talking space, but we're talking with Michael Chan. We're doing ghost-themed movies with
I still got to watch all of those.
13 Ghosts and The Devil's Backbone. I, too, need to watch those. I'm probably going to watch The Fog tonight. And then, there's a Hellbound podcast with Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn, where they talk all things horror. And Aiming on Track, where they just reviewed The Dark Side of the Moon with the Pink Floyd album. That's what we got for podcasts here.
That's our federation.
It's a federation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for Trivial Debates. We'll be back in November. Just one episode. You only got 2 trick and treats for this month of Trivial Debates. Until then,
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, and enjoy yourselves.